Today we are going to show you a little bit of the Japanese culture.
It is the third house built on the site during the last 6 years. It was presented to the museum on behalf of the people of Japan.
Floors are actually hand woven. I'm not sure if you can see that. This type of a floor is called a tatami floor. Christmas light bulb tree. That's what that is right there. Interesting fact that I've learned about koi fish is these koi fish can be extremely expensive. Some of these koi fish can easily go upwards of $20,000. Well, we got our passport and we got our suitcase. We are taking a quick trip to Japan. We'll see you when we get there. Nah, I'm just kidding. We're not going to Japan, but we are going here.
You purchase your tickets.
Okay, thank you very much.
Yeah, no problem.
In New York, on West 54th Street, between 5th and 6th Avenues, in the garden of the Museum of Modern Art, there is a house. It is the third house built on the site during the last 6 years. The first two were contemporary American. This one, representing 16th and 17th century prototypes, is Japanese. It was presented to the museum on behalf of the people of Japan and accepted as a recognition of the unique relevance to modern Western architecture of traditional Japanese design.
Welcome to the channel. If you're new, my name's Chris and we're glad you came along for the adventure today. Today, we are at the Shofuso Japanese Cultural Center outside of Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. It's actually kind of like inside Philadelphia in Fairmount Park. It's a really awesome place. We have showed you some of the Hinduism and the Indian culture. We've showed you some Amish and Amish culture. And now today we are going to show you a little bit of the Japanese culture. This is a really awesome place. Fun fact, it was actually built for the Museum of Modern Arts in New York and was the third house in their Garden Homes exhibit, which actually was their most popular house. We're going to get into a little bit more about that, but for right now, we are going to take a tour around here and kind of give you a little bit of insight into the Japanese culture and the significance of this house that we're touring today. So if that sounds interesting to you, then we hope you stick along for the adventure today because I think it's going to be a pretty exciting one. One thing to mention when you enter a Japanese traditional home, it is customary to take your shoes off. We have a shoe rack here. Leave your shoes, as well as some disposable socks you can wear if you would like.
Pinedale Assembly Center, there's no trade. There's no trade for any price. I also objected to words like voluntary evacuation. You don't force people not to call it voluntary because if you don't vote, we're going to do this to you.
And then P is for so like
This here is the kitchen area. One thing I think is really awesome about this Japanese house is the floors are actually hand woven. I'm sure if you can see that. This type of a floor is called a tatami floor. It's all hand woven. Soft, kind of squishy. Really, really awesome floor. The Japanese architecture, this is called a joinery house where, it's kind of made to be open and to be able to move things around very easily. These doors, if you want to be able to open these up more, you can see it's on a sliding system here. But you can very easily take those doors out, move them, slide the doors over and close them. The whole entire house is kind of made like that. And fun fact, this is the third time the house was built. It was originally built in Japan, then moved to the Modern Museum of Art in New York City, I believe in 1952, and then I think it came here in 1956, where it was built again, and now has been its final resting place ever since then. This here, from what I've seen, when it rains, you can see the gutter. When it rains, the rain comes down through here, and this acts as a waterfall. Go back down into this rain. So what you're looking at here is actually the main viewing room. And the paintings that you can see are called Waterfall. They were painted by a pretty famous Japanese artist called Hiroshi Senju. He painted these in 2007 to replace the original murals that were destroyed by vandals in the 1970s. And the nice thing is being here in your main viewing room, it's actually like the silent waterfall. What you can't hear is, if the waterfalls were running out here back behind me, you would be able to hear the sound of the waterfalls while you're in this main viewing room, viewing the garden from here. And it's very peaceful and very tranquil. I think one of the awesome things to note here is if you ever come, it's a very open floor plan. It's a very open architecture, and that is done for a very deliberate reason. In the Japanese culture, there is not much of a divide, much lineage between like a garden home and being able to come in and look through the architecture versus the artistic view of the landscape. So when you come in here, everything is wide open to be in the house, and then you can also view the garden itself, giving you the artistic view of the architecture and also the landscape combined together in one. Cherry blossoms are definitely still in full bloom here. The unfortunate thing is we just found out about this place this week. They actually had a cherry blossom festival here last weekend with like a whole bunch of different performances and acts that they had going on, which sounds pretty neat. So unfortunately we are 1 week too late to show you that, but the cherry blossoms here are still blooming, and hopefully we're going to show you a lot of them. Interesting fact, they do have 1,000 cherry blossom trees that were gifted to Fairmount Park. We're going to show you the cherry blossoms that are here inside the museum, and then we're going to head over and check out the rest of the cherry blossoms that they have in Fairmount Park. interesting fact that I've learned about koi fish is these koi fish can be extremely expensive. They're not just your typical koi fish that you see at PetSmart. Some of these koi fish can easily go upwards of $20,000. And from what I've read, if they've had some koi fish go for $200,000. That's absurd to me to even think of. But depending on your color pattern or its genetic background, they get pretty expensive. They have a lot of koi fish here. I don't know if you can tell on the camera how truly massive these koi fish are, but they're huge. They are truly beautiful, majestic fish. Fun fact about this garden, it's a viewing garden. It's not a strolling garden. And one of the really cool things is it's very deliberate in the sense of how it's laid out. You can see here, this is called a turtle island. It's supposed to be shaped like a turtle. As you can see, you only have the shell that would be sticking out. The tree would be the turtle's tail, which is a funny looking representation of a turtle's tail. But the significance of the tree is supposed to represent that the turtles live for such a long time, and the greenery that is in the tree is symbolic to the sense of seaweed being wrapped in the turtle's tail because of how long it lived. Each one of these little rocks that you see along the way here would be a direct representation of a island that you would be passing, or a ship that is in the ocean. And then that brings us over here to the waterfall. Unfortunately, the waterfall is not going right now, but this classic Buddhist triad 3-tier waterfall, which actually kind of represents Mount Harai, the mountain of like immortals, and it really just kind of symbolizes the spiritual journey of how, this garden in its entirety is a viewing garden, at least this part of it. So it kind of represents the spiritual journey that you would take to be able to get to paradise or heaven, or really whatever your ultimate harmony is. This statue was a gift from Gizo Takayama, which is the mayor of Kyoto, in 1959. It was gifted for like the opening ceremony. And here is a different view of Turtle Island. The turtle's tail hanging out over there. Pretty cool. I'm not 100% sure what the statue is. If you know, leave a comment down below. Definitely cool. I didn't realize it was here. It's kind of in a dark area and scared me a little bit. Here, as you can see, the steps are laid out very deliberately. So you take your time, step on each step, connect with nature, and your journey to the tea house. Sure you can't hear it in the video, but the sound is so nice and relaxing. Here's your wash basin to wash your hands before you head in for your tea ceremony. The green color walls that you see here are actually, they're this color to kind of represent matcha. The walls that are black here, you see this is where people would sit to be able to come in and drink their tea. It's black on the bottom of that, so that way it doesn't discolor the wall from their robes kind of like brushing up against it. The guests would enter in through this door to be able to get your tea. Your tea master would be sitting right here, and then through that door is where they would prepare your tea to be able to come out here and drink your tea. One thing you will note, I don't know if you can tell, the ceilings in here are very, very shallow. They're very low to the ground. The doorways are also very low to the ground. I think one of the more fascinating things in this tea house is that it's made up of 3 different roofs that you can see here, which is meant to represent the 3 different levels of formality, which is Shin, So, and Giso. You see the hand woven here. You see the roof here with the bamboo. And just like your regular wood grain roof here. Here's a pretty neat example of a Japanese bathhouse, which is really cool. This room here, as soon as you walk in, this would actually be used for like a changing room. And over here to the left, you have a urinal and a squat toilet. All the way on the far right side is where you would take your bath. I'm here with Luna, and one question I have for you, Luna, what is the purpose of this being moved from the Modern Museum of Art in New York to Fairmount Park in Philly?
Yes, so originally in Fairmount Park, there was the centennial in 1876, and recently Japan had opened up from hundreds of years of isolation after that, and Japan wanted to show off a little, so they built a garden here at Fairmount Park, and that's not here today anymore, of course. And in 1905, they moved a temple gate here, and in 1955, it burned down while it was being restored because one of the workers had a lit cigarette that kind of caught the temple gate on fire. Meanwhile, this was at MoMA in New York City, and they didn't know what to kind of do with it afterwards, so they thought, let's give it to Philly, because there's a long history of Japanese culture being celebrated, especially here in Fairmount Park. And so, yeah, they moved it here in 1957, and they built the garden around it. There's 3 different architecture styles at the house, and so they put 3 separate gardens to match each architecture style.
Okay.
And so, yeah, and it was opened to the public in 1958 here.
That's awesome. And then from my understanding is how the viewing aspect of it is set up is more just kind of for that spiritual journey.
Yeah, and there's also multiple views too. So if you're in that main 15 mat room too, and you're sitting Seiza style on the back on your knees, the pond actually looks like the house is floating on it. You don't see the grass in the front. So it's and the beams too are kind of meant to make it look like a scroll painting too. Okay. So it breaks up the different the sections of the garden as well. Okay. And that garden is called the Tsukiyama Niwa, which just means the artificial hill. Which is the idea is to bring as many different elements of nature into one like microcosm as possible. Okay. And when you come around to the tea garden, it sucks you in. It's a lot tighter. Yeah. And that kind of goes with the tea house. And then we have our courtyard garden, which most people would have had, and that's to kind of match the Minka style, or everyone's house, that where the kitchen is designed in.
Okay. And then from my understanding is like the way that the stones are laid out is very deliberate in the sense of you know, you have your viewing experience of the main garden, and then when you step on the stones, it's kind of slow you down and really kind of prepare you for that like spiritual journey into the tea house, where you're already kind of slowed down and your mind is calm. And
yeah, part of a tea ceremony traditionally would have been also including that walk up to the tea house as well. So every step is a bit it's uneven, because just like taking your shoes off and when you're coming into the house, you know, one, it keeps the house clean, but it also is like this philosophical idea of like brushing off the outside world, leaving that out there when you come into your home. It's the same idea of every step you're watching your step, you're not thinking about any of like your worldly issues. You're thinking just, oh, I'm watching my step as I go to this tea ceremony. Yeah. So it helps kind of rub that away. You'll also notice over here too, there's that camellia, and that's actually the plant that you use to make tea from. Okay. Ours is ornamental. You can't actually make tea from it, but that is the same like family of plant that you would use to make tea. And it was important to pass that in the tea garden as you went to your tea house. And then you have a tsukubai there, which is a wash basin. And that one is to kind of cleanse yourself with your washing your hands. It's like a ceremonial washing of your hands as you go into the tea house.
Well, I think that's going to wrap it up for our house tour here. We're going to check around the grounds and just kind of look around and see what's out here yet. And then we're going to go see if we can find the cherry blossoms. According to Luna, I believe they've already peaked, so they may not be as pink. There are only 2 that are here on the property, which I believe I've already showed those to you. But we're going to take a look over through Fairmount Park and see if we can find the rest of the cherry blossoms now. Pollinator garden. It's definitely a very beautiful spring day. So the bees are out and ready to pollinate. On a pretty awesome sundial from 1903. Right there is the horticultural center up there, and I believe we found some of our cherry blossoms along through here. The unfortunate thing is they have bloomed. They are green, not as pink. You can see over here on the outside, you can see some of the pink ones still, but the main ones that you see here are green. It's all right though. We saw some cherry blossoms, so that's pretty cool. Now, fun fact, last weekend had we have been here, there was a lot of people that were right along this area for the Cherry Blossom Fest, and they had some traditional Japanese entertainment with dancing, etc. You know, from what I've heard here today is it gets extremely busy, but definitely worth it to come and check out if you are in the Philadelphia area while they are doing their Cherry Blossom Fest. There's one of them that hasn't turned green yet. But these have. I can't imagine how beautiful this must be when it's all pink and in full bloom. Has to be insane. I'm gonna see if I can't find some pictures for you guys of what this looks like in here while all the cherry blossoms are bloom. Like I said, there's 1,000 of them, and it has to be absolutely gorgeous to see all of this pink. Christmas light bulb tree. That's what that is right there. All right, well, we have successfully checked out Shofuso. Now we're gonna go get our tummies full, and I'm thinking there's no better way to eat today than maybe some authentic Japanese cuisine. So we're gonna see what we can find here in Philadelphia and go get our grub on. All right, we found a spot. Let me know if you've eaten here before. It's right beside Larry's Steaks. It's called Fat Tuna Sushi. You see, I'm not a huge sushi fan, to be honest with you, but they have more than sushi. They have udon, ramen, fried rice. However, nonetheless, supposed to be an authentic Japanese place to eat. So we're gonna go check that out right now.
Okay, I left my glasses.
All right, we're starting to get our food here. Ephraim got the miso ramen chicken. I got the fried chicken ramen. It's looking pretty good. Maury got the pineapple shrimp fried rice. Buen provecho. That's good. Yeah, it's very hot. All right, we just finished up at Fat Tuna and Ramen, and I gotta say, we give it a 10 out of 10. It was darn good food, absolutely delicious. So if you want some traditional Japanese cuisine when you finish up, head on over to Fat Tuna. It's not far. I want to say maybe 5-10 minutes depending on traffic. Get your tummies full. Pretty good food. All right, well, that's gonna wrap it up for this week's adventure. I hope you guys enjoyed it. As always, we had an awesome time bringing you here. You know, if you're ever around the Philadelphia area, make sure you come to Fairmount Park and check out the Shofuso Japanese Cultural Center. You know, it's really awesome. Don't be afraid to walk up and ask questions and truly understand what it is that you're looking at, because odds are if you don't do research into it, you know, or this is not your culture, you may not 100% appreciate it for what it's truly worth. You know, I've obviously, whenever we come to these places, I try to do as much research as I possibly can to be able to bring this video to you guys. You know, and this was no exception. I've learned a lot while researching this facility, and just the Japanese culture and what it is, what the significance of the Japanese Garden House is. And it's absolutely, it's amazing. You know, it's a great place to come to, very relaxing, very peaceful and serene. You know, and like I said, if you have any questions, don't hesitate to go up to the staff that works here. They're extremely informative and truly, you know, are masters of what they do, and are able to explain this to you. So, you know, like I said, if you're ever in the Philadelphia area around Fairmount Park, make sure you come over and check it out. There's a lot more to do in Fairmount Park than just this. They have a Please Touch Museum for the kiddos, which is really just kind of like an educational center through touch and sensory. They have an Underground Railroad museum here, a horticultural center, which to my understanding is the 1,000 cherry blossoms is actually leading up to the horticultural center. So you know, it's really an awesome place to be able to come. It's just a nice, peaceful place. It's really hard to imagine once you're here and kind of inside the park that, you know, you are right outside of the city of Philadelphia, you know, because Philadelphia in its entirety can get a little chaotic and a little noisy, you know, so just being able to come here is very nice and relaxing. So I will put prices up here for you guys. I'm not sure if I did that in a video, but you know, very reasonably priced to be able to come here and just spend some time. You know, the only thing to note is they do not want you to do professional photography on site in terms of coming here and setting up like lighting equipment and a bunch of tripods, because it is a house that you're going to walk through, and it's really for that experience of just what the Japanese garden house means. So to be able to come here and set up tripods, you're trying to walk through the house, is going to be a little difficult for people to get through. So they ask that you call them, you know, if you want to set anything up for weddings or some type of a photo shoot, call them, and they will very easily be able to accommodate you after hours, it seems like. But you know, coming here doing a video, there's absolutely zero problems with doing that. So but yeah, I think that's going to wrap it up for this week's adventure. I hope you guys enjoyed it. If you did, give it a big thumbs up. You know, subscribe to the channel. It's a huge help with us just starting out. We want to be able to continue to bring you these awesome adventures and go to some awesome places. So that being said, leave a comment down below. Where do you want us to go? What would you like to see? Because, you know, as we're branching out and doing more on this channel and heading to different places and understanding different cultures or different religions, you know, sky's the limit on where we are going to go, where we may end up, or where you'll see us. So if there's something that you would like us to go to, or something that you think would be awesome to bring to the channel and to show our viewers, you know, fire off in the comments down below or send me an email, because I'd love to be able to go and check these places out. You know, this just has become a really fun thing for me and our family to do, and you know, and obviously we come and bring you guys on these adventures as well. So like I said, that's going to wrap it up for this week's adventure. I hope you guys enjoyed it. If you did, stay safe, and we'll see you on our next adventure.